Yeah, great. Thanks. Yes, so just to follow on from Jost about the European version of infrastructure, so EuroHPC and the AI factories. Just before I get into that, I'll just give a little bit of an overview about what's the strategies in AI from the Commission, because sometimes they're a little bit hard to decrypt, but there are three main ones I want to touch upon. First is the AI action plan that was put together. It's trying to put together the success factors of AI and fund those. So obviously we need computer infrastructure and data, but there's also skills and training, as well as regulatory simplification, as well as the development of algorithms and adoption of those algorithms in different industries. So each of these success factors have a act, a policy, or an initiative from the Commission that then they put funding instruments behind, which then relates down to the collaboration opportunities that researchers and industry get. So the main one that's been released recently, last couple of months, is the Apply AI strategy. What this tries to do is tries to put forward AI first for businesses, while looking at the risks that are involved. It also looks at supporting strategic sectors. So these were identified in a number of economic reports, Draghi report. The Commission has identified 10 different strategic sectors, including healthcare and the public sector, as well as science as areas where they would like AI adopted. And that underpinning that are AI factories, which are effectively HPC resources upgraded for AI usage, plus also the investment into gigafactories, so much more larger scale infrastructure for massive GPU resources, as well as digital innovation hubs. So this is looking more towards getting SMEs adopting AI solutions. And ultimately, they would like more competitiveness and increase the sovereignty in Europe around these technologies. And then just the third one, which is relatively new, which is this AI and Science RAISE initiative. So this is trying to take those resources and apply it to science, more automatic science discovery. So looking at fundamental science discovery and using AI resources in that initiative as well. So these underpin effectively these strategies, what the Commission or the European Commission is funding. One, the instrument or joint undertaking that is providing compute resources is the EuroHPC. It was set up in 2018, based in Luxembourg, has a lot of member states and countries involved. You'll see Switzerland is now on this map, which is great news because we reassociated Horizon Europe recently, and it has a very large coverage over the entire continent, hence the AI Continent Action Plan. What is new about EuroHPC? Well, they would like, well, the vision is to have AI as a one-stop shop. So it helps not only researchers do what they need to do in research, but also companies and industry to adopt AI using this infrastructure. That means that the EuroHPC network is being upgraded with AI capabilities. So the basically procurement of AI systems, so more recent NVIDIA systems, hopefully moving the user experience more towards cloud user experience. And that's an in-progress activity at the moment. So there's a lot of systems being upgraded in procurement, already online, but it's an in-progress activity. The other ingredients of AI factories outside of just pure compute, you need data. So there's the setup of data labs, the ability to get data sets, curate them, make them specific for industry sectors. So funding is going into those activities. Likewise, the skills and training aspect. So if you don't know how to program these computers, use them at scale, they're not effective. The customization of these algorithms as well for industry sectors is important. So there is a large software engineering piece. And also the cloud sovereignty and networking, the ability to share knowledge across all of these centers like we're doing here today, is very important to the entire ecosystem. So it's just beyond pure compute. So traditionally, HPC has been accessible. Now there's an access mode for artificial intelligence that's structured slightly differently than HPC access. It now has an access mode for playground or very quick access. So within 1 week, you can get a login. And it's also now open to SMEs and companies that are carrying out innovation activities, not pure research. So if you're doing an innovation, adopting an LLM for your use case and want to put that into production, then you're eligible or potentially eligible for access. Likewise, with industry and research collaboration, they have larger scale access modes as well for scientific research, but this is now making it much easier and quicker for smaller experiments to try something with the infrastructure. So if you need to choose the right access mode, there's basically industrial access path, which has this playground, fast lane, and large scale type access. And you have also AI for science and collaborative projects. And this is more targeted towards either Horizon Europe projects, where you have a defined project collaboration and you need compute resources, or an innovation activity financed through Horizon Europe. And the access is scaled, so you can get very quick entry-level access, as I said, within a week, targeting 1 to 3 months. You want to try something out, you can get fast lane access. You get access to a greater number of GPUs, up to a more large-scale access. So as you work through this, there's going to be more technical review and technical due diligence. But the idea is it's not a long, slow process. Literally, you can make an application and get really rapid access to this infrastructure. It is peer reviewed, so there is a process, there is a certain amount of diligence that goes behind it. Unlike scientific projects, the evaluation is a little bit more on innovation and impact, opposed to necessarily it being scientifically relevant. So here you will have an evaluation process. There is also data consent and also ethics involved. So the ethical aspects of why you're using the public infrastructure, what's making sure the application is ethical is also an important aspect of evaluation. Then success rates. So the program is fairly positive on people applying. So on average, it's about 60–70% successful. So there is a high probability that your project will get passed in this program. You're not necessarily getting access to funding per se, but you are getting access to compute infrastructure, the support teams of the AI factories. They have very good software development and engineers that know how these systems work. And as they're getting more and more experience in running and training these open LLMs, they're also transferring that know-how and knowledge also to their users as well. So it is quite valuable, not just in terms of GPU hours, but also the skills that you get from the AI factories themselves. And how to access. So EuroHPC has made a single entry point. You don't have to go to every AI factory and knock on their door. You just make one application to EuroHPC. They will do the review process, but you have to select the AI factory you would like to use. So there is a little bit of technical matching because not all AI factories have the same hardware, for example. They don't all focus on the same industry. So there is information available, and the AI factories can guide you a little bit in terms of which one is the most suitable. But it is a single entry point, and it does make it quite easy to use. So just to wrap up, in terms of also AI funding opportunities, those strategies from the Commission also trickle down to funding for collaborative projects in Europe, in the Horizon Europe program, and also Digital Europe. Here, also a number of calls are also open to OECD countries, specifically in healthcare, and also some in the US as well, especially in the medical domain. So it's not just restrictive only to Europe and Horizon Europe countries. Also, the number of associated countries is expanding in Asia. We have South Korea, we have New Zealand, we also have Japan coming online as well. So it is quite a global program. So we have basically a fact sheet that identifies all the AI topics on Horizon Europe. At the moment, there's about 600 million of euro funding. So it's a great place to look for collaborations around AI topics. So with that, I thank you for your attention.
Questions? Daniel?
Yeah, I think a comment for the preparedness of EuroHPC facilities for that kind of training that was indicated before will be necessary for producing open foundation models for Europe, an important artifact. There are a lot of outdated ruling on the facilities that has to be completely overhauled, otherwise it will not happen. So I give minor examples, major ones. The monthly budgeting of the, I don't know, it comes from 70s or 80s. Nobody trains this way in machine learning community. So you don't separate your budget into pieces and then you do something in an even compute budget way. This is not a thing. It was communicated so many times. It has to be communicated better to the people responsible. So this goes away. It obstacles indeed important research. Another thing that is not so minor maybe, so if you take national calls, there is a possibility to get collaborators from non-national state. So it can be in EU, it can be outside EU. So we have no problem for collaborating with an open source community on our machines within national calls. EuroHPC has a rule that you cannot put a non-European person as a simple contributor on the grant. So for open source community, a deadly thing. So we cannot work this way. So it has to be also changed. If you try to make responsible people aware of this, there's like a big no. So either EuroHPC decides to become useful for machine learning community or just keep on pretending it is. So there has to be changes, and then the machines will become really a useful artifact for us. So I mean, we are already using them, but with all of these restrictions, is a pain. So they have to go away, and there is no reason for them to be there. So like, really, no.
Yeah, there's conflicting, I say, goals, but I guess they want to try to make the experience unified to some degree, and also procure systems which are more suitable for AI workloads. At the moment, there's an upgrade of existing infrastructure and making that available, so it has limitations, of course. Also, there's a range of applications, so not everyone needs to train a frontier model. Some people just need to fine-tune one. We're also seeing Quen with smaller models of things, so it's more accessible. And also the skills component is also important. But yeah, it's valid.
You know, fine-tuning can be done on any facility in the cloud. So this is easy thing to do. So we have a dedicated resource that is calling itself supercomputing facility, which has a special purpose. So this purpose has to be unlocked properly. So
Like, do you have like a quick question, or so you're raising the hand? No. Okay. You do? With speaker?
Yeah, data consent. You mentioned it. Is the European project doing something to help industry, which often has big issues sharing data?
Yeah, I mean, the confidentiality is a challenge. Obviously, you need to bring data that is permissible to use. So I mean, it is a public infrastructure, and you have other people logging into these machines, so you need to manage that yourself to some degree. But that is in the works with the data union strategy. So there is efforts to go into that direction, and also the Cloud and AI Act as well. So to make sovereign cloud infrastructure available for AI development. So that will be released in the next quarter of this year. There'll be more details in that direction.
Maybe to follow up rather than with a comment, but the question is what can we do or help to make digital Europe become more like Horizon Europe? Because this openness in Horizon Europe puts kind of Horizon Europe at the center of the world. I just come back from Japan and Singapore, and they are all looking to Europe. And digital Europe is the one area that I don't think anybody should look at Europe.
yeah.
How can we change that? It's the same organization.
Well, I mean,
The commission putting both forward.
I mean, they want to improve capacity, but I think a lot of what's been done in this community does go towards that goal in terms of open source software. So if you can get scale in that open source software, which is ultimately communities supporting it, so it's maintained, it's not just released, and it's not.
Well, we can get that done.
Right.
So getting open source software done, I think we've demonstrated in many places.
So if you,
But there is a difference between Horizon Europe
Mhm.
and Digital Europe.
Yeah.
And we could never be
Mhm.
a hosting site for anything in Digital Europe. We can be an antenna.
Yeah. This is the sovereignty discussion on being member state soil and the infrastructure being there. Look, I don't think that's going to change. I think the Horizon Europe will probably expand rather than Digital Europe becoming more open. That's my belief.
So could Horizon Europe become an infrastructure as well?
I mean, it is a blurred line at the moment versus research versus what's pure operational and deployment. So a lot of these projects are basically on the borderline, and they flip between like Deploy AI was Digital Europe, and now it's probably going to switch back with Raise and AI and science back into Horizon Europe domain. So it's never clear if it's going to be pure operational. So there's probably a case to say, look, because the line is not that clear, why don't just put things into a program that works and where people can collaborate, just simply on that basis, because it's not clear when something's operational and deployment based. There's the large research component in AI.